Good evening, welcome to North West Tonight with Annabelle Tiffin
and Roger Johnson. Our top story. Gas engineers found no leak 12 hours before this. So why was there an explosion at the weekend in Wirral?
Lots of people screaming, lots of people shouting. I ran to the corner of the Portland estate and I said to them, what's happened? And they pointed to a huge building which had collapsed.
We'll have the latest live as dozens of people count their blessings after a lucky escape. Also tonight...
This is what democracy looks like!
A famous face shakes things up as anti-fracking campaigners start a fortnight of disruption in Lancashire.
The fracking in built-up areas on agricultural land, and I really don't think it's a right way to go about things.
The search for Stephen, he went missing 25 years ago. Police believe he may have been murdered.
And what would you do for your best friends? How Helen has changed Andy's life forever.
Andy's got kidney disease and needs a transplant, and because I'm able and I'm fit, I'm donating my kidney to him today.
Police are investigating the huge gas explosion in Wirral at the weekend as a possible crime. Dozens of people were hurt and a building which housed a dance school was obliterated by the blast in New Ferry on Saturday night.
Well, National Grid have confirmed that they had received reports of a smell of gas in the area hours earlier. Let's talk live to our chief reporter, Dave Guest, who joins us from the scene this evening. The devastation is very apparent over your shoulder, Dave. Just bring us up to date with the latest there.
That's right, yes. In fact, they've moved the police cordon slightly so that we can get nearer to the devastation. That heap of rubble over there used to be a dance studio, but at 9 o'clock thereabouts on Saturday night, there was a huge explosion which wrecked it and surrounding buildings and turned so many lives upside down. The moment when lives were changed forever was actually captured on a car's dash cam. Now, as you can see, the devastation's plain to see down here at ground level, but if you take a look from up above, you can see the true extent of the damage. Now, this was an explosion which left more than 30 people injured, 2 of those people still in hospital tonight. I've been catching up with some of the people who were displaced or affected by the blast.
Unfortunately, we've got...
Paula Power is trying to sort out a temporary home for her family, and the strain's beginning to show. Her husband Chris was home alone at their house a few doors down from the scene of Saturday night's blast.
It was a huge bang. The windows came in, glass everywhere. I jumped up, ran out, lots of people screaming, lots of people shouting. I ran to the corner of the Portland estate and I said to them, what's happened? And they pointed to a huge building which had collapsed.
This is their home. They're not being allowed to go back to it yet to assess the scale of the damage. And an added worry is that their pet cat Sparky hasn't been seen since Saturday night.
We'll talk to the animal rescue department and see whether they can go in and find our cat.
And what about the future for you? You're staying here at your sister-in-law's at the moment. That can't go on forever. So what's going to happen to you? Are you going to stay?
We've chatted to our insurance and they are going to sort out accommodation tomorrow. Sometimes you watch things on television and you think to yourself, that will never happen here. And it did on Saturday night.
Roger Jones lives a couple of streets away from the explosion.
And all of a sudden this big bang, and I managed to jump up quick. As I went to the door, all the slates was coming down off the roof.
Tom McLaughlin says £2.50 saved his life. He would have been walking past the very point of the explosion had it not been for the fact he was delayed collecting his modest winnings after a game of bingo.
If we'd have been a minute earlier, we would have been in the explosion. So I'm very, very lucky.
Well, a number of local people have said that they smelt gas in this area on Friday, and National Grid have confirmed that they did have people in the New Ferry area on Friday investigating such reports. However, they found nothing. While the investigation continues, many here have praised the way the community pulled together to rally round and help those affected by the blast.
Certainly that's a theme that's come out throughout today, and Aaron Partington is the pastor of the Life Church. You took in a lot of people who were displaced on Saturday night, and you were telling me earlier you've been amazed at how this community has pulled together.
Do you know what? I've been absolutely amazed that the whole community, Bebington, New Ferry, and the wider community have come together. The paramedics, the councillors, the MPs, and Life Church and surrounding areas have all come together and just made this whole thing, even though it's devastation as we can see, something of a community feel where people are helping each other. And it's unfortunately it's taken something like this to bring people together.
And Paula Basnett is from the Chamber of Commerce in Wirral. What are you able to do to help the people, the businesses whose livelihoods have been ruined down there?
Well, we've been down here most of the day to try and understand what are the issues, what support do they need, and we're working with the local authority and other partners to identify a building where we could provide space and pop-up space for the existing traders whose property has been damaged.
It's going to take a long time, though, for this community to rebuild, obviously.
Yeah, it is, and even though I think it is going to take some time, I think with the likes of the different partners of the commerce and people like that, I'm sure that we'll be able to get this whole thing sorted.
OK, thanks very much indeed. And let's not forget, of course, there's still 2 people in hospital tonight who suffered serious injuries, plus around 30 others who were affected by the blast, the effects of which, as we've heard, are going to go on for some time to come. Now back to you.
Dave, thank you very much indeed. Dave Guest for us there live at the scene of that blast. Now, there were more protests today against companies that anti-fracking campaigners believe are supplying the industry. At one point, Kellett Road in Carnforth was closed in both directions.
And there were more demonstrations at the site. Today, campaigners were joined by Happy Monday's band member Bez. Judy Hobson reports.
They called it a Happy Monday, a day of action and dancing at Quadrilla's fracking site at Preston New Road.
The fracking in built-up areas on agricultural land, and I really don't think it's a right way to go about things.
Earlier today, a very different kind of protest, this time in Carnforth. Environmental group Reclaim the Power blockaded a company that they believe supplies materials to the Lancashire fracking site. Liz climbed onto a makeshift swing at 5:30 this morning.
So why are you doing this?
We're here in solidarity with the people of Lancaster because they said no to fracking at Preston New Road.
The companies here, Aggregate Industries and Tarmac Limited, wouldn't comment on contracts, but Quadrilla says they haven't worked with them for months.
This is what democracy looks like!
Back at Preston New Road, more disruption. This time a go-slow march in front of a lorry which had just left the site. Today's blockades have been condemned by some local businesses. They call the tactics callous. This man runs a company which supplies contractors to the oil and gas industry.
In this instance, I just feel that it's been taken a bit too far now, interfering with local businesses that just want to benefit from being part of the supply chain and bringing this industry to our doorsteps.
The County Council voted no to fracking here, and campaigners are angry that the government overturned that decision. Quadrilla says their plans won't be delayed. The fight against fracking shows no sign of quietening down. Judy Hobson, BBC North West Tonight, Preston New Road.